if you're surrounded by media influences, social media influences, colleagues, competitors, you sort of proclaiming how bad the situation is and all the woes of the coming months and ahead of us in terms of economic outlook, you're not going to aim. You're going to get your head into fight or flight or survival mode, and
Welcome to Men of Abundance, the podcast for those looking to level up their lives by hanging out with some of the greatest leaders and established professionals in our community, living a life of integrity, honor, and the abundance mentality. Prepare to pay it forward with your host, former Army medic turned lifestyle entrepreneur, Wally Carmichael.
What is going on, all of you amazing, abundant leaders out there? I am Wally Carmichael, your founder and host of the Men of Abundance podcast, the Pay It Forward community, proving to you that you can, in fact, live a life of abundance and prosperity, by the way, in family, faith, finances, and fitness. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the entrepreneurship. As you know, I'm big time an entrepreneur and absolutely, love supporting entrepreneurs and on every part of their journey. So today we're going to definitely be getting into helping out you business owners out there. But if you're not a business owner, you're not an entrepreneur, don't go away, because there is always something for everybody, especially when you get into that fun part of the kick in the gut moment. One thing I want to share with you, if you haven't paid attention over the last couple episodes, one of the new things that I'm doing, I'm bringing back an old idea, but kind of when I first got started with Men of Abundance, which is pay it forward. We are the Pay It Forward community after all. And one of the things I don't know why I never thought about this before, but after watching so many amazing videos of people today out in public and paying it forward financially and just emotionally, and just sitting down and having conversations with people that, quite frankly, some people kind of just walk past and never really consider. They don't even see them. They're like invisible. And I'm talking about the people in our community. I'm talking about not just the homeless folks. I'm talking about the servants within our communities, the people that deliver our mail, the people that, our public, our first responders, the servers in the restaurants, everywhere. All of these people that are unsung heroes in our community, keeping our communities going. So I want to pay it forward to them, both emotionally and financially. So what I've done is I've set up a page specifically for us to pay it forward to our communities. And I'm going to provide a link in the show notes and in the description for you to make sure that you go and do what you can to pay it forward. I've set up a GoFundMe for Men of Abundance. It's only for Men of Abundance, and it's not for me personally. It's not for any operating costs or anything like that. This is literally just a GoFundMe so that we can pay it forward and give to the community in one way or another. I will be recording some of these events, and I'll be sharing it on our Men of Abundance fan page. I'll be sharing it on our Men of Abundance YouTube channel. And I've even got a Men of Abundance TikTok channel so that we can share the little 1-minute clips on there. And it's super fun. I really enjoy doing this. And I hope that you, as an abundant leader, will contribute to that so that we can pay it forward in a big way. All right. So enough about that. One thing I want to make sure that you do, share this. Since we're on Facebook Live right now, set up a watch party or something of that nature, anything that you can do to pay it forward, because that's another way you can pay it forward is just share this. If you're watching this, do a screenshot and share it on your social media. And if you're listening to this on the podcast, when the podcast is out, take a screenshot of your phone, share it out on social media, hashtag Men of Abundance or hashtag MOA, and let other people get in on these conversations. Because just like they're doing something for you, I'll bet you they will do something for other people that don't even know we exist yet. So make sure you pay it forward, and I assure you they will come back and thank you for it. So let's get into our featured guest today. I'm super excited about this conversation. Our featured guest is a business strategist, much like myself, and we all do things a little bit different. So I'm super excited to find out what he's doing and how. He's an author, inspirational speaker, business growth mentor, and host of the Business Mastermind Podcast. Gavin works with business owners, entrepreneurs, and senior leadership teams to provide insight and develop creative strategies to accelerate the growth of their business. His new book, Survive and Thrive: How to Secure, Scale, and Succeed in Business, is a collection of practical tools and techniques that he has been successfully implementing over his 25 years of experience as a business strategist, mentor, and coach. Gavin has worked with a wide range of leadership teams and organizations from Ford, Carphone Warehouse, the Royal Bank of Scotland, to the United Nations, and even the Metropolitan Police. Gavin is recognized for his unique combination of mindset and business strategy tools, and is celebrated for his clarity and passion. Let me bring him on. Gavin, welcome to Men of Abundance, brother. It's so excited to be here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm equally excited to join you on the show. Thank you.
Excellent. So where are you at in the world?
So I live in the UK, in North Wales, in the UK. So in a coastal place. So during the conversation of this, the course of this conversation, we may hear seagulls in the background.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that. I always love the sound of nature. Before we get started here, I like to start out with an attitude of gratitude, man. What do you have to be grateful for today?
Oh, I'm absolutely grateful for my health, and I'm just straight back. This is the second day back from 10 days of vacation with my family, and I'm super grateful of being able to have, in these crazy times, 10 days away with my wife and two boys. And we went to a bunch of islands off the southwest tip of the UK called the Isles of Scilly, which was my first visit there, and they were just stunningly beautiful. So very, very grateful. And in terms of my gratitude practice, the last 2 mornings, I've been, being super grateful for the chance of those 10 days with my family and in such a stunning place. Yeah,
for sure. Absolutely, man. And I love island life. Having lived in Hawaii for 10 years and Panama, which technically I lived there for 4 years. It's not technically an island, but I had the Pacific and the Atlantic on either side of it.
Wow.
So absolutely love it. And being here in Florida, we're looking forward to getting out to, we have not done it yet, but getting out to the Caribbean and stuff like that. So good for you, man. And it is a challenge these days with everything going on that, to find something that, one, you can travel to, and two, that's open when you get there, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How did all that work out? Was it all good?
Yeah, well, we had a choice about whether we took the opportunity to go to Europe, just go to Spain or Greece or somewhere where we would obviously be more guaranteed with the weather. But we said, no, let's stay in the UK, less risk, less chance of lockdown or quarantine on return. And we're so glad we did. We'd always wanted to go to the Isles of Scilly, and the scenery is just spectacular. So we had a great blast. We were kayaked, we sailed, we went out in dinghies, we paddleboard, we spent time on the beach, we walked around. I think we did in a week, we did just short of 140,000 steps. So according to my watch. So we had a great outdoors week and a lot of great time.
That is super exciting. Good for you. I'm very glad that you were able to get out there and do that and spend that time with the family and unplug and disengage. We're going to get into this a little bit more, I bet, but since we're having a conversation and as a fellow business strategist, one of the things that I find that I deal with a lot of clients is that they just can't unplug. They have a very hard time unplugging. And after I point out to them, it's directly related to their lack of creativity. What is your experience with that? Because I can get into it, but I don't
completely agree. It's so easy to get on the treadmill, and I've been guilty of this myself. You get on the treadmill and you've got a stream of things to do, and one of the insights that I've really had kind of hammered home for me over the last year is the business owners that are really successful, whether it's in business or in other sort of endeavors in life, are those that create time to stop and to think. And part of that stopping and thinking is you clearly need to be able to go away and recharge and be in an environment where you get some creativity. And I know I'd had a really busy 3 months building up to getting the book published and then the book launch. And I had another major client project on. So I was burning candle at both ends. I was working weekends. I think I worked 21 days straight. That caused challenges at home, and I was overdue. I had basically not had a break since the Christmas break. So I just 10 days, I feel a different human being. I've got creative ideas. I've had my mojo's back. I'm recharged, ready to go. So, I said to my wife only yesterday, because she usually has to pull me away from work because I just love what I do and I love helping the clients that I work with. I said, we just need to schedule our next break in now because it's so important for the family, but it's just so important for mental health and creativity and preventing burnout.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you right now, at my point, I do not have a problem unplugging. When my son showed up, we were talking pre-show, when my son randomly showed up at noon this last Thursday, I was like, done for the weekend. What are we doing? And we did. We went to the beach. We went and hung out and, went out to dinner and just had some, good time. I got the hammock out. I just don't have a problem unplugging anymore. But because I know it makes me so much more creative. And listen, guys, you don't have to go out some island adventure with your family. Unplugging literally means just stepping away, leave the phone in the office, go sit down with the family and watch a movie, or sit down and play a board game, or sit out on the back and watch the grass grow for a minute and relax. And I call it getting vitamin C, vitamin D, and vitamin B. That's the ocean, the beach, and the sun.
I love
that. So that's how I unwind big time. And love it. So good for you. Well, here on Men of Abundance, we're going to get a little bit more into your professional side, and we spoke a little bit about that in your bio, but we like to get to know the man behind the abundance. So if you would, how would you describe yourself?
I'm a lifelong learner. I've always been passionate about helping people in life and business kind of get out of survival mode and get some greater juice and fulfillment from their career, from their business, from their life. How can they go from survive to thrive? And so I've always been intrigued. What are the things in business and in life, the differences that make the difference in success, whether that success is defined in terms of monetary or in terms of fulfillment, in terms of health, relationships. We want to enjoy our time, relatively short time on the planet, and want to look back and say, yeah, I lived that well and I enjoyed it and I got the most from it. And I think so many of us can fall, and myself included, into a grind of got to get these things done, and it becomes a bit more of a struggle. And I want to help people get out of survival into thrive, so they get greater enjoyment out of their business, out of their life, out of their relationships, their health, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I love that. And I love the idea of your book because from survive to thrive. And I literally just had this conversation this morning. Maybe you were top of mind when I was having this conversation in my networking group, because I specifically want to work with people who want to dominate their market and want to thrive. If you just want to survive, here's an analogy I used to use when I was active duty, when I was in the military, and I used to use with my troops and my soldiers, is when you're living at the standard, when you're just making the standard, you're going to have bad days. And on those bad days, your productivity is going to drop. Your ability to perform is going to drop. And if you're at the standard, then when you have those bad days, you're going to fall below the standard. And that's where people get hurt. That's where people get killed. That's where money is lost. So during COVID here, that's a major bad time for all of us. Okay. Nothing we could personally control. But if you were just living at standard as a business owner, then guess what? You're probably not here right now, or you're seriously struggling because you've been just at the status quo for years and okay with that. That's why I've been so busy. And I'm sure you have been too, because people are finally realizing having a business coach or a strategist on their team is no longer a luxury. It's now a requirement. And they realize that, because when you're up here well above the standard and thriving and succeeding at a higher level, on those bad days, guess what? You only fall down to the standard. And you can still go on and do well. So what are your thoughts on that? For
sure. Oh, I 100% agree. And it's been more and more of an adoption in the markets that I work, where coaching and business strategy has been seen as a real game changer, a differentiator to help people stay ahead. And, if you're surrounded by media influences, social media influences, colleagues, competitors, you sort of proclaiming how bad the situation is and all the woes of the coming months and ahead of us in terms of economic outlook, you're not going to aim. You're going to get your head into fight or flight or survival mode, and we, to shift the analogy, a martial artist, they don't get to turn, and you'd have known it in your military background, you don't get trained to hit the target, get trained to hit beyond the target. And people should be focusing on what do we need to do to thrive now, to go to that level above that standard. And people like you and I, we raise the sights of people. Whenever there's a period of uncertainty, there's always opportunity. And we help people see the size of the potential opportunity, the size of the prize, and help them get excited. And the other thing I do is I shine the spotlight of brilliance upon the people that I work with to give them the confidence, to give them the courage and the clarity so that they can step up and really go for it and really can achieve the results that they want in the kind of thrive realm rather than the survive realm.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, and that's why I just love having this conversation with you, because what do you find you tend to be having the conversation? Is it more revolved around the strategies and the tactics, or mindset?
Do you know, it's both. And by design, I in my career, I was originally trained as a CPA, as a chartered accountant, and that gave me great grounding in terms of business and the understandings and the commercials of things. And then I went down quite a tangential path into coaching and NLP and training and facilitation, and I loved it, and I was like a duck to water and very, very capable. And for a decade, I spent working in large corporates doing executive coaching and really shifting performance in leaders. But where my heart was always as an entrepreneur, working with business owners, and really wanted to be able to do both. And what I integrate now is a holistic approach that you can have all the strategies in the world that are differentiated, that stand out, that are in a market with a tailwind, that have all the ticks against them. But if you haven't got your mindset right, you haven't got the mindset right, then you're not going to be able to execute on those strategies. You can have the right mindset, but working really hard and doing all the right things, but you're not following the right strategy. So you need both. And I think that's one of the things I sought to do within the book, is to be able, you can get books on mindset, you can get books on business strategy, you can get books on purpose and systems. I wanted to be able to create a holistic or comprehensive guide to those people that may be in surviving, to help them to get out of thriving, or those people that are plateauing in their business. They've had growth previously, they're now plateauing, and they're struggling to work out what they need to do to get back into growth again. And I speak to that very challenge, but in a holistic area. So I don't, because we're complex beings. Our businesses operate within complex environments. They're complex systems, and we've got to be able to pull different levers. And it could be an ops issue, it could be a strategy issue, it could be a people issue, it could be a mindset issue. So we need to be able to cater for all of those if we're really going to help a business owner or a leadership team create a sustainable shift and growth in their businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree. It's interesting how I can work with I tend to work a lot with like subcontractors and roughnecks. These guys don't want nothing to do with mindset. They just want to know how am I going to add more money to the bottom line, but basically, and maybe get a little bit time back from the family. And I can give two exact same business owners the same exact strategies, even in the same region, and one will do well and one will just flop. Yeah. And it always comes down to mindset almost every time. So 100%.
I have an experience in working with companies to help them double in a year and double their revenue in a year. And initially, when I was putting the program together, I was reticent about the mindset stuff, because thinking people would go, whoa, that's a bit woo-woo, not interested in that, it's not relevant. And do you know what? The difference that made the difference in the growth trajectory of all of those businesses that doubled within a year in terms of revenue was mindset. Absolutely mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. Excuse me. And there is a difference in the mindset of an entrepreneur and the mindset of a business owner. I've definitely learned that over the years. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. And, for entrepreneurs, they see challenge as opportunity. They see disruption as opportunity. They believe that what entrepreneurs are there to do is to create solutions to, meaningful solutions to the problems out there in the world. So I personally think entrepreneurs are a gift to the world. They're brilliant at solving problems. That's in their very sort of core. And they go about doing that, and they do it in a way that can deliver benefit to their marketplaces.
Yeah, and they're beneficial to business owners too. I call them entrepreneurs, where you have people with that same mindset working for you in your business, you got to give those folks some stake in the business, because they're going to come in earlier than everybody else with a football helmet on, knocking in the door, and they're going to just be the most creative people within your organization. Keep you not just surviving, but thriving, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So one of the, I'd really like to get into this kick in the gut moment, because everybody has them, and more so it seems now than ever. It's a matter of what you do with that information and that kick in the gut moment that sometimes changes the trajectory of our life and how we do things. So if you would share a kick in the gut moment with us, and really make us feel that.
Yeah, so I've kind of alluded to it. When I qualified as a chartered accountant, my CV was as of an accountant, and I got headhunted to work with a defence contractor, BAE Systems, and I was doing internal management consultancy and a finance role, and they were doing a headcount reduction. 20% headcount was going, and I got opportunity to go and do an assessment centre, to go on a secondment to the head office to work in their corporate, their in-house university. So I was going to make this shift that I always wanted to do. I wanted to make the shift into change management, into coaching, into training, into the consultancy piece away. But my CV at that stage just said, hey, you're an accountant from at the time, a big six international global firm. And the people around me said, whoa, don't go for, if you're not going to line yourself up for a certain role and you go for this assessment center and you don't get in, you're without a job. You will be one of those people that's the casualties of the 20% headcount reduction. And I just had an irrationally strong gut feel, no, I needed to do this and I would get through. I did. I got through. Crazily, my previous manager had to pay for me for a year while I went on this secondment, and didn't, because I was elsewhere in the business. So he didn't get the benefit from that. So he had agreed to that. And it started off the main part of my career in terms of coaching, training, helping people to grow and scale and improving their business. And that opened the door sequentially into exec coaching in the city, into many large corporates and organizations like United Nations. And then more recently, through a lot of work I'd done within HSBC over the last decade, that's helped me work with their customers to help those SMEs, those businesses that are from 500,000 to 5 million, even 10, 15 million turnover, to scale and grow. So I put it all back to that one kick in the gut moment where I had a choice: go for a safe finance job and secure my role, or go for what my gut told me was the right thing that I had to do, which was much more risky. Mm-hmm. I did that, and it set the sort of the new trajectory for my career, which I'm so grateful for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, that is another one of those things that entrepreneurs have, is the ability to take that risk, a calculated risk. Obviously, we're not trying to just go crazy with it, but good for you, because and then you're able to share that information with your clients, as far as making a calculated risk.
And I think back to that earlier point about taking time out to think, whether that be through meditation or just scheduled thinking time on a regular basis, you need that stillness and quietness to check into your gut feel about decisions in business, decisions, whether it be day to day or bigger strategic plays. And I think these current times, over these current crazy COVID times, I think there'll be a lot of people out there that, if they choose to make the space to check in, to think, to be calm and to be still, they will be tuning into many kick in the gut moments, that will help them thrive through these times.
Yeah, absolutely. And innovation. If they weren't in a position to innovate, or in the mindset to innovate, those that have innovated are doing pretty darn well. In fact, they've found other revenue streams within their business, and other ways to do business. And that's one of the things that the creativity allows you to do, that you can't do if you're stressed out. You can't do if you're, can't get any sleep because you're wondering, first off, you're not paying yourself anymore as a business owner, but you're making sure that your employees are getting paid. And what are you going to do for the ones that you have to let go? It's stressful, and you can't be creative in that environment.
And we need to be raising people's sights now. It's the rallying cry for the troops. Come on, we're in this together. Mm-hmm. This is where we're heading. This is the North Star, the direction of where we're heading. Yes, we're going to have to adapt. Yes, there's going to be change, but let's turn that into a compelling and exciting challenge rather than something that we're scared and worried about. Mm-hmm. And it's those businesses that have a pro-change culture. In fact, big consultancy company, Bain & Company, recently, put an article out there. We're talking about businesses that will thrive through these times are those that have clarity of direction, have that kind of North Star about where they're heading. They might not know all the steps, the routes on the pathway yet, but they've certainly got clarity of direction. And also that they've got flexibility in their cost structure so that they can scale their output in line with demand. Mm-hmm. And then thirdly, they've got a pro-change culture where the teams are going to run towards the opportunity to evolve, to innovate, to iterate, to change, because that's what's required right now, testing in a marketplace, how you can improve or develop new offerings to your market.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a key point there in that, ability to change. I can't tell you the amount of business owners that I've called on and they're like, well, this is the way we've always done it and we're fine. Well, being fine, here we are 6 months into COVID or so, and fine is not, it hasn't gotten you to this point. You're probably gone at this point if you were working off of what we've been doing is fine. I
do believe there is a population of people in business at the moment that are in denial about the need to change, and they think. I said sort of several months ago, come September, or in September now, but everything will be okay again, or maybe. Come 2021, Q1 2021, everything's going to be okay again. And I think we've got to be aware that it won't be. We've got to accept the reality of that, deal with the emotional stuff that goes with it. But also then, great, it's a challenge. And, I often ask audiences I speak to or people I work with, with somebody of your skill, your background, your training, your experience, your intellectual network, is your goal worthy of you? And are you solving a challenge? Are you having a challenge presented to you that's worthy of you? Mm-hmm. Well, boy, oh boy, are we presented with challenges that are worthy of us right now. And I think it's in the moments of these challenges that really that are as big and encompassing, cause us to step up and tap into something that in terms of our own capabilities, creativity and genius that in normal times, smooth sailing times wouldn't bring out of us, wouldn't call of us.
Right. Yeah. And, that brings up the point that, guys, one of the things that I've always talked about from the very beginning of Men of Abundance is coming together as a community and realizing that you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have the right people around you. And I can go back to talking about Napoleon Hill, Jesus Christ, Henry Ford, so on and so forth. All of these people had other people around them that knew the answers that they needed to move forward with their mission in life and their goals and so on and so forth. It's no different in business. So many business owners just have this ego that says, if I can't figure it out, then it's going to fail. It's not going to work or whatever. You have to have people on your team, and you have to listen to everybody on your team, because they all have input.
They do. And it's often for those in the team that maybe have been, those that haven't necessarily been, coming forward with ideas can suddenly pipe up with an idea and you go, wow, that's a stroke of genius. You've just nailed the very point that we need to innovate on or need to address. So many heads make light work of this kind of situation. And it's not just the heads, we've got to be getting people to sense what's going on around them, to tap into that gut feel, to their intuition, and then look for the data to validate those hunches.
Yeah. So other than absolutely blessing the community with your book, how else are you paying it forward within your community or even throughout the world?
Look, I'm always very giving of my time, and I'll give you an example that when we went into lockdown locally, I think we were in 14 weeks straight, and there was a number of really small local businesses that understandably were in proper panic mode. And I just reached out to them and just said, hey, this is what I do professionally for a living. I don't expect any fee. Here are some things. Here are some ideas that I see looking from the outside at your business, where the market's going, where the opportunities are going. And just gave of that time, that energy, that help, that support on my network and connected people. And I think in a moment, some were literally panicking about their future survivability of their business. They were in tears, and it was just to know that somebody was reaching out to be able to say, I've got your back. I'm here. I can help. Here's some ideas. Also, through a family business, we had tenants in there that in a business center that were struggling to pay rent for over the period. It's like, don't worry about it. We're going to emerge from this stronger. Let's take a sabbatical. Let's take 3 months out. We don't pay. I want you to free up from worry, and you go and do your business, your help, the bit that you do for your benefit of your customers and their customers. Go ahead and keep on doing that without the worry of you being able to pay the bill. And the more you can genuinely just be there as a human being through times of challenge, the more they can then go on and help other people, and in turn you get rewarded yourself down the line.
Yeah, paying it forward, and it just keeps on going. The highest form of happiness is giving. For sure. By far. There's steady after this, and it's always the highest form of happiness is giving to somebody else. And if you want to be selfish about it, quite frankly, you can say, well, that's a reason why I give is because it makes me feel good. But also when you're sharing your craft and your skills, the best way, in fact, to me, the only way to truly master a craft is to teach it to other people and to share that with other people, because you only know a topic to the point to where you can explain it to somebody else. And if you want to master your skills, go out and give more of it. Now, don't get me wrong. It's great getting paid, and you should get paid for your skills. And a lot of people won't do anything with the information that you give them without having any skin in the game. But I did the same thing. There are a lot of people out there that are in need, and they are grateful, and they're doing much better because of you going out and giving your time and sharing your skills. So thank you very much for doing that. I greatly appreciate it.
My pleasure. And it's just so fulfilling. One little idea that I gave to one local business owner that was really struggling. I don't know where she doesn't need to remember where she got the idea from, but it just came as a moment of gratitude to see her putting that into practice several weeks later, and it working for her and working for her business, and to know that I just sowed a seed that gave her actually a new revenue stream, what's turned out to be a new revenue stream for a business. That's incredibly fulfilling.
I love that. That is the difference right there, guys. People ask me, Wally, what's the difference between a coach? Because I consider myself as a hybrid. That's why I use strategist and not coach or consultant, because a coach is somebody who says, basically, you have all it takes. All I need to do is ask the right questions and bring it out of you. A consultant's like, no, you don't have all the answers. You've never considered these tactics and strategies, and you wouldn't, because you just haven't been to that school of thought, and you haven't been, trained or the experience or whatever the case may be. So sharing those ideas, and they're like, wow, I never thought, simple stuff to them. And it is simple stuff, but you would have never thought about it had it not been explained to you.
I have this debate with my wife all the time. She says, hey, you're a coach. You know how to think like a coach. You help people in your businesses. So why do you need consultants and advisors, mentors? Because surely you know all the answers. And I say, well, you can't see the label on a jam jar when you're on the inside of the jam jar. And I only know what I know. And, I'm a voracious learner, as is indicative by the bookshelf behind and the library that I have on Audible. However, and all the courses and the training I've been on, just a conversation I had yesterday, just on a really simple, small point about international shipping on a book. The guy said, have you thought about this? I went, God, no, I haven't thought about that. It's so obvious now that you've said it, and nobody has all the answers or can see all the different angles. So yeah, the people we hang out with, we become who we hang out with, and we need to make sure that we're striving all the time to be getting the right advisors and colleagues and people in our network around us to stretch us, to help us, and to show us some shortcuts en route as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned something from every single client that I have a conversation with.
Oh, for sure.
At least about their industry. One unbelievable example was a guy that owns a distillery, and he's in Texas. And what I didn't know, valuable information for him to know before he got into the distillery industry in Texas, is that you cannot export your spirits outside of the state of Texas.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
If you're in California, however, you can distribute worldwide.
That's amazing.
Right?
That's a big game changer in terms of business.
100%. Yeah. So now he's talking to the governor of Texas and everybody else and saying, why in the world would you not want Texas products shipped outside of Texas? Texas Pride knows. It's little things like that you just don't know. And he didn't even know until he got into and invested in the whole bit. So stuff you need to know. So, brother, we are at the point where we're going to pay it forward to our abundant leaders. You ready to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. All right, listen up, abundant leaders. If you want to take full control of your personal economy, put your leadership and business skills to work, you absolutely can start your own business coaching business. The fact is, business owners need professional coaching more now than ever. And as a business coach, you get the opportunity to put your skills to work, provide a critical service, and get duly compensated. Now, if you're saying to yourself, I would like to change careers, I would like to enhance my current career, or I would actually like to be a profitable business coach, that then brings up the question, how do you structure a coaching business? How do you get paid? How do you get clients? These seem to be the biggest questions that I hear when I'm talking to people who want to start a coaching business, specifically a business coaching business. How do you do one-on-one coaching and group coaching? And how do you set up a member site to create continuity within my coaching business? And then, of course, even if you can figure all of that out, what's the investment? Well, I'm going to answer all of those questions for you and much more. All you have to do is go to BCB, Bravo Charlie Bravo, .apbusinessmastery.com. That's where I will be sharing with you how to give yourself a raise whenever you like, gain more leads than you can handle so you can be very selective about who you choose to work with. You'll find out how we get clients fast results so they stay and pay for years, not just months. I will share with you how we literally show the prospects the money so you don't have to sell. And more importantly, to me anyways, you will potentially be saving lives and marriages, possibly even yours. It really is that serious. Now, if you're ready to take full control of your personal economy, put your leadership and business skills to work, and you believe that starting your own business coaching business might be the solution, then head over to BCB at apbusinessmastery.com. And don't worry about trying to write that down. You'll find the link in the show notes. Now, let's get back to the conversation. So share 1, 2, 3 actionable steps that men of abundance can take today.
Yeah, number one, make sure you schedule time every week to think on your business, to work on your business, but think. Time where your phone's off, your social media's off, your email's off. Set up with a question at the beginning of your thinking time and put out 30, 40 minutes around a really good quality thinking time. Number two, make sure you have absolute clarity about where that North Star is, the direction of where you're heading in your business and the difference that you want to make to your community, to the markets that you serve, your customers and their customers. And then on the back of that, number three, spend time every day visualizing, focusing on what you do want, because out of 25, 20 to 30 years of studying this stuff, the most one profound lesson I've got in the area of kind of self-development, personal development, is you get in life what you focus on. And too often we're bombarded with streams of negativity and controlling influences. And what we need to be doing is focus on North Star and visualize and get excited about the feeling of having successfully and not only accomplish those goals, but enjoying the journey. So 3 things: block out the time to think and focus on a particular question for each thinking time. Number 2, get clear on your North Star, your direction of where you're taking your business and your life. And number 3, spend time regularly visualizing and getting excited about the progress that you are making towards that North Star, towards your goals.
Yeah, absolutely. Very powerful, guys. Make sure you go back and write that down. Write all 3 of those down. Put them on your whiteboard. If you're like me, I have my whiteboard up here. I'm always writing stuff on it. Great stuff. So what rituals make the biggest impact in your life, Gavin?
Exercise. You start every day with exercise, sort of 5-6 times a week. I'm exercising, which I love. It sorts my head out as well as physically, gives me energy. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. That's the first one. The second one is the visualization. I've always loved that. And then the third thing that I love to do is to talk to people that are further down the path. I do it through the podcast, the Business Mastermind Podcast, but I do it in general. I just love talking to other people in business and in life who are successful and trying to understand what it is that makes them tick and how they've got that, so I can start to model that. So that inquisitive, I have a ritual, you could say, of curiosity and inquisitiveness, and I seek out opportunities to learn from other people.
Excellent. Thanks. So, for the men and women out there, for the listeners that are looking to live a life of abundance in family, faith, finances, and fitness, with that in mind, what would you recommend that they read or listen to?
I tell you what, of course, I'm going to say my own book, Survive and Thrive, How to Secure, Scale and Succeed in Business.
Absolutely.
And but in addition to that, there's a book I'm reading at the moment. I'm just going to reach out for it that I'm loving. And it's very much aligned with some of the things that we're saying. That there needs to be a balance between the mindset and strategy. There needs to be a balance between the spiritual and then the hustle. And Vishen Lakhiani's latest book, The Buddha and the Badass, I don't know whether you've got that the right angle for the camera, but
right there.
Yeah, The Buddha and the Badass. The secret spiritual art of succeeding at work. I bought this on Kindle. I bought it obviously in paperback. I've got it on Audible. Hey, a thing I love doing actually is listening to the Audible whilst reading it. It just totally immerses me in the experience. And that was holiday reading for me, and I love it. So I recommend, Vishen Lakhiani's book, The Buddha and the Badass. It's my current top recommendation.
I love it. I'm definitely going to check that out. Yeah, and I usually listen to the audio first, and if it's something that I need to reference, like abundance with a lot of data, and I want to make notes and stuff, then I'll get the hard copy. That's usually my thing. But then maybe I'll do that, listen and read at the same time.
So I set it to 1.9 times, 2 times speed on Audible, and then listen and read it, and I'm just totally zoned in and absorbed in the content. Yeah,
I love it. So what do you feel holds most people back from living a life of true abundance?
Their belief about whether they are worthy of it, as if they need to be given permission to have a life of abundance. And I believe that holds many people back. And I think we were meant to come here on the planet to have a journey of joy, of fulfillment, so that we could help and contribute to society and to the lives of others. And we're best able to contribute from abundance and joy. And it's just that we get in our own way with our thinking and our limitations about what we believe is possible. And the moment we can stop and recognize our strengths and check into our gut feel, a kick in the gut moment, and start to follow that, and then do your market research, back it up with the data. And the moment we can start to experience abundance in all aspects of our lives, and it comes out in the book. Really, it's about. Just let me read a little poem, and let me see if I can find it. And it's just open. Talk about Biblia Massi. Just opened on the right poem. So it's a Rumi poem. When I run after what I think I want, my days are a furnace of distress and anxiety. If I sit in my own place of patience, what I need flows to me, and without any pain. From this, I understand that what I want also wants me, is looking for me and attracting me. There is a great secret in this for anyone who can grasp it.
Absolutely. Very powerful. Thanks for reading that. That's excellent. Go ahead before I ask the last question.
Yeah, so that for me is about stopping, reflecting, being aware of our inner gut sense, and then knowing that we've got a huge amount of gift that we can bring to the planet, bring to the world, and that can open the doors of abundance for us. Yeah,
I go as far as saying, look, if you don't go out and go after your dreams and go after the things you want to do, and you want to live a life of abundance, because success is personal. That's something that you're doing for yourself personally. Abundance is taken to the next level, having enough resources, time, treasures, and talents to go out and pay it forward to other people. So I believe it's selfishness. It's pure selfishness if you don't go after what it is that you want and truly believe that you 100% deserve. And like you said, what it is you want is waiting for you. It's there. So what if 2 million people have what you want? They haven't taken anything from your ability to get what you want, which is what they have as well.
Sure.
There's no monopoly on that. So just go after it, and go after it in your way and enjoy it in your way, because abundance there's more than enough in the world. This book up here, Abundance, proves that with the data in it, which I won't get into right now. So what does being a man of abundance mean to you, Gavin?
It's been having the freedom to be able to spend time doing what I want when I want, and being able to make a difference in my family, to be there for them, making a difference in the people and the communities that I serve and the people that I work with. is part of that. And it's free from the limitations of our own mind. I think one of the things that I'm really focusing on at the moment is helping people move beyond limitations, whether those be physical or mental, and help them to achieve a greater level of freedom and flow that gives them that feeling of abundance.
Excellent. Absolutely, man. Well, we are definitely going to have your website, surviveandthrive.cc, linked up in the show notes. You guys see it there on the screen. If you're watching the video on Facebook Live or on YouTube, by the way, if you're not subscribed to either one of those or like Facebook Live, Men of Abundance, facebook.com/Men of Abundance, or the Men of Abundance YouTube channel, go check that out. But how else can people get a hold of you? Or is that
yeah, sure.
And what else do we not talk about? You want to ensure that our abundant leaders get out of our conversation today?
Yeah, so to get hold of me, just either go to gavin.live and that will connect through on Facebook. So gavin.live, connect with me on LinkedIn, Gavin Preston, and you'll find resources. And check out the podcast, the Business Mastermind Podcast. 3 episodes, 3 shows going out every week. And so there's a huge amount of value and content being shared across the podcasting platform as well.
Ooh, 3 episodes a week. God bless you, brother. I started out with 3 episodes with Men of Abundance, 3 episodes a week, and I quickly broke it down to 2, and then I went, let's just go with 1.
If I'm honest, I started off with 1, 2 I was happy with. I've been running with 3 since the beginning of August, and I'm beginning to wonder the wisdom in that.
Yeah. My mentor was John Lee Dumas, who was doing 7 a week, and I figured if John can do 7, I can certainly do 3. No, not with everything else going on in my life too. And, having a life for that matter. Yeah. So good for you. Well, excellent. We will have all of that linked up in the show notes. I'll have it linked up in the description and everywhere else where you will catch this conversation. So, man, I dig what you're doing. I absolutely love it. It's like we were separated. We're twins that were separated on 2 different continents because our minds just work so much alike. I love it. Go out, live your life of abundance, man. Keep paying it forward because you're making a huge difference. I know the difference that you're making in lives out there because I get to feel the same experience as well. So thanks again. I greatly appreciate you.
And I'd love you to come onto my show because I know you've got a huge amount of value that you can add to my listeners in the UK as well. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. Let's set that up. Take care.
Cheers, Wally. Cheers. Thank you.
Yes.
That's all for today, Abundance Leaders. For more about our guests and the powerful information we shared with you today, be sure to sign up for our mailing list at menofabundance.com. We appreciate your time and look forward to hanging out with you on our next episode. So until then, be sure to pay it forward and live your life of abundance.